invest in Apple, Amazon, Tesla, and Google.
Oh yes, definitely. And see, that's the thing too, that where credit allows you to get into that. Because some people, I don't have enough money or the amount of money that they want to place into stocks and stuff like that. But with credit, when you turn that credit into cash, once you understand how stocks work and how to do options or dividends or whatever you choose to do in there, the profit that you're making from that never was your actual money that you had to use. So that was just pure profit.
You need the miles when you're paying.
The private lounges, like.
There you go. Yeah, the Amex lounges, chef's kiss.
Yeah, and it's really based off of your statement ending date, as long as you keep it up under the 30%. And if you want the max 165 points, then you want to actually hit 7%.
When trauma happens to you, you can decide to keep being the victim, or you can be an advocate for others that have gone through this. You're going to have to get pregnant. You're going to have a repossession. You're going to have eviction. Like, all of that stuff goes into my story so that I came out being able to navigate it a better way than what I would have done before.
What you can do once you got that in check, it's really like the sky's the limit.
The only way to get a shortcut to pay an expert.
Correct. Learning themselves, and they have a coach.
Yeah. The thing that you guys had in common was that you wanted to make sure your kids had a better life.
Right. You don't have to do all that, but the goal is to build an empire for our kids.
You can come together to do that, and you don't have to be bickering and fighting and nothing like that. So shouts out to you guys for being the adults and seeing that you can still be a good team and not be together. It's like credit cards are the devil, so you have to cut them up, or you're gonna go to jail or something. I don't know what we think. But our parents, they were dealing with the knowledge they had at the time, and they were trying to keep us from making the same mistakes that they made. All they knew was that, okay, I was paying on this for a long time. It's infinite the way you can make money.
Yes, it is. And that's why I said, I feel like credit is your heartbeat.
Please don't close your card. Because that's one of the things. Because of course you're looking at it just like you would look at something else. This system is set up for you to fail at it. Once you learn that this game is set up for you to fail, then you have to understand, okay, I can get to a place where I learn the game and then play it enough just so I can get out of it. Or
like your heart. If the heart shuts down, everything around can't do anything, right? If it stops beating, that's the same thing. Like your credit is that foundation part, right? That's your heartbeat, basically. If you get that in check, the world is so much easier.
Welcome to Credit Chats, where we deep dive into the financial maze and uncover how everything from your daily coffee to your dream home impacts your credit score. I'm LeBaron, and thank you for joining us. Each episode will explore the ins and outs of personal finance, hear from experts, and answer your questions. So tune in, take notes, and transform your financial journey with us. Let's get started. Welcome to another Credit Chats. Here's our Just a Tip segment. Thinking of boosting your score? Request a credit limit increase every 6 to 12 months, ideally after a recent income boost or when your credit is in good shape. A higher limit can lower your utilization rate, but remember, it's not extra cash to burn. It's lower utilization for your goals to build your legacy. Use that and get your higher credit score. Welcome to another Credit Chats. This is your host, LeBaron, and I have Kyra here, who is a dedicated mother and compassionate nurse on a mission to empower hardworking individuals and help them regain control of their time and financial freedom with a passion for serving others, expertise in healthcare and finance to make a positive impact on people's lives. Notably, Kyra is the founder of an award-winning credit service, Kredit Kleanse, and that's with a K. Through this service, she has helped countless individuals navigate the complex world of credit, debt, and financial management. And we were both on the Breaking Barriers show on the Zondra Network with host Raquel May-David, and that's where we connected. She absolutely killed it. She crushed it when she was there. So thank you for being here, Kyra. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the 2Ks on her left shoulder there. Like, it's just all the things. Like, she has the fashion to go with her cleansing. Kyra, what inspired you to start Kredit Kleanse? And was there a specific moment or experience that you realized this was your calling?
Okay. Yes. So actually, what happened is my last pregnancy. It was
Hmm.
very difficult. I ended up being hospitalized for majority of it because I was end up losing my eyesight for
Wow.
2 weeks. Yes. So they didn't even know if it was going to come back. And let me
Yeah.
back up and say, before that, I was a full time travel nurse, right?
Okay.
So now I'm not doing anything. By being a full time travel nurse, you don't have the same benefits as if I was just at a hospital or a clinic or anything like
Right.
that. It was cash, and I was cash heavy
Hmm.
on that. I didn't care about my credit. Of course, when that
Yep.
happened, then you're like, maybe I should have cared a little bit about the credit side because no loans or anything like that could be taken out. Because at this time, my scores
Right.
in the 400s, okay? 490
Yeah.
probably. So it was trash
Yep.
there. So basically, that happened. And then when I came home and I was greeted with an eviction notice.
Oh my
And
gosh.
followed by the eviction notice was a repossession, okay? And
No.
yes, and my baby is still in NICU because I end up having her way early because of all the health issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, that tried to. I saw somebody with really good reviews and stuff like that. Other people have been using them. Spent $4,200 and
Hmm.
nothing was done. So it was more so I could take that L
Yeah.
or use that as a tool to get me into the space so that it doesn't happen to anybody
Right.
else. And that's really what happened.
And everybody listening, I hope you gained that there is nothing you can't come back from. Like that, the series of happenings that a lot of us have gone through, probably that was spread out for most of us, and it was happening back to back for you. So that I hope our listeners are getting that this is something that you can come back from. There's no situation that is too heavy for you to make sure you're doing the right things with your credit. And you took that as a catalyst to help other people with the same thing that you were given as something that could have held you down. You used it as a catalyst to help other people. And I say that a lot on some of the episodes. Like there's most people, they're faced with a traumatic situation and they can do one of
Yes.
two things. You can either help other people get out of the situation that you just got out of, or you can shrink and say, why did this happen to me? And nobody's going to help me and all of that. And not to say that you can't switch from one to the other, but if you decide to help people doing the same thing, I don't know, the things that you're going to get from helping people and
Right.
all of that,
It
it's
up
just,
like 10 times fold. Let me say that.
yeah.
I definitely want to say thanks to my children's dad because I couldn't have got through that as far as a living space or anything like that. During
Hmm.
that time, we were still together. So he ended up being able to get us another place and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm learning, he's learning. And like I said, I use night shift because I started
Hmm.
working night shift. And excuse me. And I was just like, let me fix some people. So
Right. Yeah. So yeah, shouts out to having a partner that's going to help you. And even though, regardless of whether you're together or not, like you can be amicable
yes.
and still come together for a good cause, for a good purpose. The thing that you guys had in common was that you wanted to make sure your kids had a better life. You can come together to do that, and you don't have to be bickering and fighting and nothing like that. So shouts out to you guys for being the adults and seeing that you can still be a good team and not
Mhm.
be together.
Right. You don't have to do all that, but the goal is to build an empire for our kids, to leave
Right.
behind an empire. That right there is enough said in itself. Also, just
Yeah.
being so, I fell in love with it. It was supposed
Hmm.
to be, oh, I'm gonna help my loved ones or help my friends, and that's it.
Right.
Okay, but being on night shift and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this just as much as I do nursing, if not even more.
Mhm.
So now instead of
Right.
helping people prepare for death or anything like that, that I was doing to heal them there,
Mhm.
I was like, this right here can prevent all of that other stuff. Because a lot of them
Yeah.
that have health problems, guess where it comes from? the stress of having to clock in 40 plus hours, all your time there
Yeah.
and away from your loved ones and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
where it comes into play. So I was like, how about something to prevent that from ever traveling to that point? So
And I think it starts a little bit further back from you just wanting to give yourself or your family a better life. So you're like, okay, what can I do to get ahead? I gotta grind, I gotta grind. And
yes,
then you start wholesaling your gifts to somebody who gives you a 9 to 5. And then they're like, let me pay you 30,000 for what you're gifting.
giving up all
And
that
we get
time, and now you don't really have your kids have a memory of you going to clock in. Like for
right.
me, a nurse, 12 plus
Yeah.
hours a day.
That's a
I was
minimum.
12 to
Yeah.
18-hour shifts. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you clock in to get ahead, and then what ends up happening is you get comfortable because the paycheck starts coming every week or every other week or whatever it is, whatever the
Yes.
regularity is, and you get comfortable with that, and then you don't you and then you look at your situation and you say, okay, I know I'm going to get this check, and even though it's a limited amount of the check, and you can go have unlimited earning potential, it's just not guaranteed.
Exactly.
But even though it's not guaranteed, like that's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not guaranteed $3,000, but I could make 30,000. So it's just your mindset that you take when you do these things. And I know we discussed me being freed from my job recently, and it's just opened up a lot of things for me as far as like having the earning potential. And don't get me wrong, it's tough. Like it's tough mentally, but being a person of faith and being able to walk it out, like being able to show my kids like this is what it looks like when you have to walk by faith. So
Hmm.
they've seen me be the corporate, I guess, the corporate slave for a long time, and now they're seeing a different part of it.
Yeah.
Moving on to your nursing career, are you still a nurse or you
No,
stop that?
actively working, no.
Okay. I know you don't lose it. I know you know how to be a nurse, but I was gonna ask about balancing the nursing career, but if you're not actively in
Not
the nursing,
anymore.
I
In
think
the
you're
beginning, I
okay.
was, but in a
Okay.
course.
Talk about that then. So
Okay.
how did you balance like the nursing with Credit Cleanse and being dedicated mother? And I know that was challenging. So how did you juggle that for some of the people who are looking to use their job as a internship so they can get to something better?
Okay, so I will definitely say I probably did not do it the right way. Okay, I sacrificed me. By that is my mental. I really did
Yeah.
sacrifice as far as sleep because
Right.
I changed to night shift. So now
Hmm.
I'm working night shift. I'm also learning and I'm also doing credit cleanse during this time
Hmm.
to build it up, learning the laws and all of that and how to stay compliant and yeah, doing that during the night shift. And then about time I come home, it's time to be a mommy, get
Right.
my kids off to school, and we have an active lifestyle. So that's basketball for school and
Hmm.
outside of school. So
Wow.
sports was going on, and yes. So I would honestly say, for me, I didn't do it the healthy way because I sacrificed my self care, just
Hmm.
me.
But you recognize that, and then you made a change. So I think going into it, understanding that it could be temporary is probably a good thing for most people anyway. Just like you might have to sacrifice some sleep for a little bit, because for most of us who didn't learn how to utilize our credit or how to leverage our credit, we didn't like you said, you weren't even looking at it because you were cash heavy. So we didn't learn that we're going to be held accountable for all of these decisions that we're making
Yes,
along the way. You're going to be regardless of whether you know about it or not, you're going to be held accountable for it. So when you go to purchase a house or when you go to get a car or when you go to invest in whatever you want to invest in, they're going to be looking at that stuff. And even jobs and insurance and all of that, they look at your credit. So for us rebuilding and figuring out, okay, I may have to do this temporarily because I made some decisions that didn't serve me well in my past. But now that I know that these decisions didn't serve me well in my past, maybe I just have to take a 6 month period and let my kids know, okay, this is going to be a tough period, but
right.
it's going to be temporary. And we're going to be back to what we were doing before. And then you have to have that discipline to do it and then get back.
Definitely. I'm glad you said I tell everyone. For me, it's hard for you to come to me with an excuse. My lifestyle is hectic as is, but when
Right.
you want something, you're going to make it happen. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, I wanted a better future for my kids, and I
Right.
started seeing what credit could actually do. It was way more than getting to a home, getting a
Mm-hmm.
vehicle, or anything like that. Like, literally, if you understand how credit works, now no longer clocking in. So I'm like, okay, this is my suffer time right now.
Yeah. Right.
While I'm forming a plan to get up out of this. And I'm glad that you did say that, because I think a lot of times people don't realize that we do have to like sacrifice or put some
Mm-hmm.
things on the back burner to get to where we're trying to get to.
And one of the people that I follow pretty heavily, his name is Julian Gordon, but he says if you don't come from a family of millionaires, then the millionaire has to start with you.
Yes.
So you're going to have to make sacrifices here to set your family up. And these decisions may not benefit you, but it's going to benefit the generations to come. But you have to be that catalyst, or you have to see in the future to start.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, I know we're looking at our kids and our kids, and we want to have those acres and build those trust funds and all of that stuff for them. But we also want to pass down the knowledge that we're getting
Yes.
to teach them how to use it, not just that it's there for them to at their disposal, because
Right.
you want to make sure you're circulating that. But yeah, I love that for you. And Kredit Kleanse has earned awards and recognition. What did you say was the turning point for your business, and how did you handle that growth?
Ooh, the turning
And what awards did you win? Give us.
I end up winning like Best in Central Texas. I won that
Okay.
multiple times. Woman Entrepreneur of the Year, right? I end up winning Notary, because we also have Notary in there. It started being, first it was like local,
Uh-huh.
started just building from there. But with all of that, I think I forget to even say my accolades. For me, it's more so the turning point was seeing other families' lives change. And they actually coming to me, they would start with, maybe it'd be the wife and her husband in it, and then all of a sudden their children, they're not
Right.
listening to us. Maybe you can explain this better. And I'm really seeing them change, and that was the turning point for me. Oh, I gotta go harder.
Yeah.
It's bigger than
Yeah,
me.
because people counting on us, and that's what motivates me too. It's just like, how many people are gonna need the information that I have? I know definitely my kids are gonna need it, because I don't know if you have a similar story to me, but I came up hearing that credit cards are the devil, and that you don't want to use any kind of credit cards, freeze them, put them in the freezer. And we didn't grow up learning how to utilize that, or how to make it grow, or how to leverage that when we get to a place where we need to leverage it. So I didn't know what to do with credit when I started out, and I
Right.
got shoved. There was on the campus that I went to, and I've even heard there were high school campuses where they do this, like when you turn 18. But they give you a credit card, and they give
Yes.
you a piece of pizza or a t-shirt to sign up for this credit card, and then they give you a $600 limit, but you're looking at it just like you look at your debit card, instead of looking at it
Yes.
like it's a credit card.
Yes. And me, my first one was $1,000.
Okay.
And coming from a small country town, yes, I was, hey.
We going to the club. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think I bought a cell phone, because I'm aging myself, because cell phones had just got widely popular then. And I had I think it was like a $300 limit. It went up to 600 at some
Right.
point, because I was only using it for my gas at one point, because I was in college. But then I got a $600 limit, so I got a $300 phone, and I paid for that phone for probably 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because I didn't pay it off, and I was like, it's all right. It's only $12 in interest, but that racks up.
Yes. Real quick.
Yep, absolutely. So, in your journey from nurse to credit counselor, how did your background in healthcare shape your approach to helping people achieve financial health?
So, one of the biggest things that I realized is that is something that's sacred to a lot of people. And that's the same thing comes to health. A lot of families hold secrets. Like, they don't want you to let their loved ones
Hmm.
know that they have cancer, or, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I had to come. By being in healthcare gave me that little wiggle room to get people to open up to me, to let me know, hey,
Nice.
I am a safe place. This is going to
Mhm.
stay here unless you let me brag about you. Other than that, it's going to stay here. And they was
Yeah.
like, okay, so using those tools and also having them understand that your credit is like your heart. If the heart
Yeah.
shuts down, everything around can't do anything, right? If it stops
Right.
beating, that's the same thing. Like your credit is that foundation part, right? That's your heartbeat,
Mhm.
basically. If you get that in check, the world is so much
Right.
easier.
Yeah. And I know just dealing with some of the sensitivity because I'm in the credit space as well, but we're dealing in that sensitivity space where there's guilt and shame attached to this stuff. So when I do consultations, the first thing that I tell them is don't be so hard on yourself. This is not information that is readily available or that is something that the banks or anybody that's a lending
Correct.
institution wants you to know. They don't want you to know this information. So don't be so hard on yourself in the fact that you should have known this stuff before, but but look at it as an opportunity to grow from whatever you're talking about now, so that now you're looking at I didn't know the information before, but now I have a chance to learn the information.
Right.
So what you do from here on out will shape what you have for your future. And don't be so hard on yourself because we don't know this information. Like this is not your fault up until this point. But from here on out, it will be your fault because now
And when something happens to someone, you are first considered a victim, correct?
Mm,
At what point, if you notice, if you have an interview with anybody that's and has something happen to them, they no longer want to be classified as a victim. So that's
mm,
when the same thing when it comes to our credit. We are victim as far as this is something that's not taught to us in majority of our homes, at school, in the community. But
yeah.
at what point do we get in front of that and now, hey, we're gonna be the advocate. I
Mm,
don't this to happen to anybody else. We are going to end this circle, right? And we're going
right.
to turn it into something else. So it's the same thing to me.
Yeah. And I think those are great words for what we talked about earlier. Like either when trauma happens to you, you can decide to keep being the victim, or you can be an advocate for others that have gone through this.
Yes,
And that's in any trauma that you talk about, because there's a lot of people that have done different things because of what their traumatic experience is.
correct.
And a lot of entrepreneurs have started their businesses because of a pet peeve or something that happened to them. You can work in whatever field you want to work in. And the crux of it is you're solving problems. If you're going to solve that problem, then it doesn't matter what field you're in, you're going to be solving a problem.
Correct.
So, as a founder,
Okay.
what were some of the biggest challenges you faced early with Credit Cleanse and how did you overcome them?
One of my biggest challenges probably would be the growth so quick,
Okay.
because it really got out there. And I think it started just because the no like and trust factor,
Hmm.
and it just spread from there. So then it was more so, it was just me, and I had to learn how to get to the business sense. I'm a first generation. Okay, so I'll start this, it's gonna go, woo, woo. But by it growing so fast, I end up realizing I can't do all of this myself. I
Right.
gotta have a team. And then by getting a team, wait, y'all need to know what y'all need to do. Like, oh, y'all
Wait, I
not
got to
just
deal with
coming in here
people?
and notice stuff. So yeah, that would probably be the biggest challenge.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm an introvert by nature
Me
and I
too.
don't like dealing with people. So, all of these systems that I have, I was trying to circumvent dealing with people by putting a system in place, and that you just can't do that.
Oh
Like,
no.
e you're gonna have to either deal with the people that you're bringing on board so that you don't have to deal with people,
Yes.
or you're gonna have to deal with the people that you have to pay to make the systems so you don't have to deal with people.
Yeah, you just
So
can't get out of it, okay?
I completely understand. And with you being an introvert, like you post a lot, like you have a lot of things that you post. And of course, it looks natural to the outside
Yes.
looking in
That's
that you're
growth.
posting, but nobody would ever know that you're an introvert.
Yes. And I think it's maybe over time, I'm becoming, what is it when you're both?
Extrovert? Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, you're a hybrid.
Yes, because I can mingle and then I'm like, I want to go into my little shell, okay?
Yeah.
But
That's still introvert. That's an extrovert and introvert. Like you can be in front of people and make them think that you're an extrovert. Because I'm the same way.
yes,
Because clearly, with both of us being on the show, like I said, you killed your interview,
thank
and people would look at that. And I know people told me that I did good on my interview, but I know people would look at that and say, "Oh, you must be an extrovert." But the best way to know if you're extrovert or introvert is, do people recharge you or do people drain you? If people drain you, you're an introvert.
yes,
Get recharged, then
yes.
you're an introvert.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, oh, I definitely want to say this, guys, is the biggest thing for me is I had to realize you can't do this yourself. And so I end up investing into myself. So I reached out. I didn't want to do a course. I didn't want to do a group session of anything.
Right.
I was like, no, I
Right.
need that one on one so I can ask what I need to ask. And you know what I'm saying? They can look into my system. So I did. And I end up
Hmm.
investing over 6 figures to have
Hmm.
the one on ones. And that
Right.
definitely helped a lot with marketing, social media, and then also in the industry itself.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. That's one of the paramount things. Like, investing in yourself is probably the biggest expense you're going to have if you want to grow, because, like, people are always looking for shortcuts. They're always looking for the rags to riches story, and they would look at your story and say, "Oh, she
He
came
did
up
it. It's
overnight. Must have
easy.
been." Yeah, she must have came up overnight. I had a repossession. If you asking for my story, then this is what you're gonna have to go through. You're gonna have to get pregnant. You're gonna have to have a repossession. You're gonna have to have eviction. Like, all of that stuff goes into my story, so that I came out looking at this stuff and being able to navigate it a better way than what I would have done before. And now I make better decisions for myself.
Yes.
But everybody always looks for that shortcut, and the only way to get a shortcut is to pay a guru. Not even a guru. I don't even want you to pay gurus. I want you to pay an expert.
Correct. Learning themselves, and they have a
Yeah.
coach.
Right, right. And that's the only way that I've seen to get a shortcut to success, because they already have the steps to success and they have the receipts and things like that. That's the only shortcut you can get. There's no other one that I've found to get you to success quickly. But yeah, mindset is crucial for success. And I'm interested in what mental shifts or practices helped you stay focused, driven, and especially in the face of setbacks and challenges.
That is bigger than me. Also, I'm gonna say this: a lot of people, they will be like, "Oh, I do this for my kids," right? And I do. Let me say that I do, but that's not always going to be your driving force,
Yeah.
because sometimes you are going to look at it and be like, I should stop for my kids. Or so what gets you past that? So for me, it was just more so, I gotta do this. Or I want to make a difference just in the overall community. Seeing a brown skinned young girl, and I was a teen mother, okay? So because I had a kid early, being looked
Right.
at as, oh, she's not going to do anything with her life. I want to show those, oh, she living a lot. You know what I'm saying? She's living
Mhm.
that. I can do that too. I don't have to listen to everybody that's in my ear that's telling me I'm no longer good, I'm not good enough, or this is all I'll
Right.
ever amount to, or anything like that. So that was my driving force.
Yeah, yeah, and that's paramount too, knowing that your value is not attached to any action that you did. So you can come back again. You can come back from anything, and you can make it better for the next generation, or you can make it better for yourself. Because I know there are people that have been incarcerated that came out and have become millionaires, or there are people that have been incarcerated and they come out and they go right back in.
Correct.
And I'm not saying that everybody that's being incarcerated has been treated fairly, but in the same instance, just like we said, this system is set up for you to fail at it. Once you learn that this game is set up for you to fail, then you have to understand, okay, I can get to a place where I learn the game and then play it enough just so I can get out of it, or you can stay in the game and not understand it and keep getting stuff happening to you.
And you really have to be really strong as far as you have to be okay with losing people along
Hmm.
the way. I have
Yep.
lost a lot of people that I actually thought would never, like if you had asked me years before, what? Heck no. But
Yeah.
this my ride or die. You know what I'm saying? But now I don't want to ride or die. Let me get that can help me
Say
elevate.
we gotta
Hey,
die.
I'm not for the
Why we gotta
dying.
die? We ain't gotta die. We
Yeah,
can just
we
ride and get money.
just elevate. So with that,
No, but
yeah.
go ahead. No, I'm
No,
sorry.
I was gonna say, so with that being said, you do have to be okay, like I said, with losing people along the way because your path, it just went, it took a separate, and that's okay. Y'all can come back
Yeah.
together later, maybe, or whatever. But yeah, you have to be okay with that as well.
Yeah, because your previous mindset and your boundaries served them, and they no longer serve them.
Yeah,
Of course, everybody's looking for their mental health. So if you have to cut people off for that mental health, then that's being okay. That has to be okay with you. So that's something that I had to deal with too. Like just some of the people that have dropped off and things
yes,
like that. Yes, just because they don't understand that being in this space, you're going to have to do some things that other people may not like, and
I
got to
missed out on
sacrifice some
some
things.
things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I told this to one of my siblings the other, probably like last week. They were like, "You got to work on the weekend," and I'm like, "Look, I got to get this app out. I I understand that you have a job that you can work at and you can go to and get paid from it, but my success is dependent on me. So
Yes,
I'm gonna do the for me to not have to work all the time, I got to work in the pockets where I can get the most done in a
yes,
short amount of time. So I know what those times are, and I'm going to work in those
yep.
times regardless of whatever happens. So that it just is what it is. Yep. But what are some of the most common mistakes that you see people make with their credit, and what's your advice for avoiding them?
Number one would be, like you say, using it like it's a debit card.
Yep.
So instead of a tool to get things that will make you money so that you can use, you know what I'm saying, that you can, most common is that. And then also them, I'm going to say this is with just credit, period, when you coming into a program or something, feeling
Mhm.
that just because you got some collections, charge offs, or whatever, delete it, that your score is automatically supposed to be in the 700s or 800s without you doing anything on your part.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, so that's one thing, like just having to educate them to let that, hey, while I'm doing this, I need you to be doing this. What, and that means like getting a either a secured card or the cards that they already
Right.
have, keeping them below 30%, learning to use them to pay simply your bills, pay something you were
Mhm.
going to pay for anyway, and then
Yeah.
using that debit card or whatever, or your checking account to pay off that credit card.
Yeah, and I think budgeting is a big thing as far
Yes,
as, like, when it comes to, like, credit. If you have it budgeted for you already and you're paying it out, then yeah, go ahead, use the credit card, pay the credit card back. But, I've seen countless examples, like you said, of people using their credit card like a debit card, and that's just gonna get you in a bad way. Even
yes.
though it's interest free for 30 days, after that 30 days, you're gonna get penalized heavily.
And this is coming from, I made those mistakes, okay? I let
Right.
people know off top. I cleansed my credit and started getting approved for 25,000 and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, yes, kids, we're taking a trip here. Da, 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 da. And before you know it, it's sky high. Guess what? Guess who got to go through the process again? So I teach off my trials. I don't want you to have to go through that again. Okay,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do that is start first. When I started learning, oh, I have an electric bill I need to pay anyway. Let me use the
Mhm.
credit card instead of using my debit card again, because I'm
Mhm.
earning points or I'm getting cash back. Now,
Right.
the money I already had to pay that electric bill, I pay off that credit card. Well,
Mhm.
I'm doing a lot of things at once. One, just for adulting, I am making money on the back end. Okay, that's the award. That's the let's go
Yeah.
splurge or whatever or invest, right? That's what
Right.
I use. At the same time, I am showing that credit company, that creditor or lender, that I am responsible. And they, guess what, want to give me more. Before you know it, that little limit of 1,000 or whatever could easily change to 10,000, if not more, because they are seeing, oh my gosh, she's swiping, but guess what? She's also paying it off. Let's give her more. She needs more.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the ways I explain that to my customers is, or my whoever I'm talking to, is that when you use your credit card, to the extent that you've budgeted, because if you let's go back to the $600 card example. If you use it up to $600, you pay it off every month. $600 paid off every month. That credit card company ain't making no money off of you.
Correct.
So they gonna extend your limits. They're like, okay, we give them a little bit more, so maybe we'll make money off of them if we give them a little bit more. And the more they give you, the more money they can make off of you if you if you have bad habits, and then you just have more limits with those bad habits. So even though it's a game, again, you want to play the game, and then you know how to win it now. So that's definitely like advanced tactics, especially when you're talking about the points too, because you never get to those points if you keep the $600 cards,
Correct.
the secured cards. You will
Yes,
never get to
we
the point.
need the bad and bougie cards, I like to say.
You need the miles when you're
Yes,
paying.
the private lounges, like,
There you go. Yeah, the Amex lounge is chef's kiss.
yes, yes.
All right. What are some of the common myths you hear about credit?
That if you pay your, what is it, like pay 15 days and then pay another,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I can't think of exactly how it
Yeah.
goes.
If you make two payments, you pay one before the due date, one before the statement date. Or I'm
Automatically
sorry,
going to
not.
increase your,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I've
it's
heard
like
that one too. Yeah.
automatic, and it's really based off of your statement ending date, as long as you keep it up under the 30%. And if
Yeah.
you want the max 165 points, then you want to actually hit 7. And you will, okay, is learning that type of stuff. And as well as, just because you have a great credit score means that you are fundable.
It's more so about that profile. But yeah, and we were talking to, I think it was Ashley Gunther on Raquel's, like Raquel had a Zoom when, and Ashley was talking about some of the things that people commonly, like the gurus, like Ashley she is a, well, she calls herself Lone Wolf, LOAN Wolf, but she is like passionate about debunking some of the stuff that you hear on like Instagram. And so you can get a no doc loan where they don't pull your credit. And she's, if they have a soft pull, that's pulling your credit. And
Correct.
you're gonna get an inquiry on there when they pull it for real. So regardless of you running this play or doing whatever you're gonna do, like, you just have to understand that you have to do your research, do your due diligence to find out whether it's really gonna happen. And then when
Hmm.
you learn that thing, okay, yeah, maybe you need to have an inquiry because you're buying a house. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
But don't just go out and get inquiries just because you're trying to get more, or you don't understand that you have a 500 credit score, and they're not gonna approve you for anything right now. So yeah, there are common, and she calls them gurus, but she was like, the fake gurus out here telling you all of this stuff, and don't do that. But how has your perspective on financial freedom evolved over the years, and what does freedom mean to you now, both personally and professionally?
So I'm more so after time freedom, not the financial freedom anymore.
Mhm.
That's where it started off. And you can have the financial freedom and everything else and still have to give up your time. Now
Yeah.
I just want to relax, do Kyra, make my little dance videos, educate the masses, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like, just the freedom to do whatever it is that I want to do when I want to do it.
That's awesome.
But of course, I think also you need the financial freedom part to make that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Because if you're paying people so that you can get your
Yes,
time back,
delegate.
yeah, you got to have the funds to pay the people. But looking back, what advice would you give your younger self when you were just starting out on your journey?
Oh, what would I, what advice would I give myself? Oh, one would be don't to ever close a credit card, because that's honestly where the 400 came from. Majority
Oh,
of it.
okay.
Yes. And it was
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, I don't want to use these. I don't want to be in debt. So let me
Right.
just cut them up and
Put them in the freezer.
Yeah,
That's where that
right. And
comes
don't
from.
look at
It's
them.
like credit cards are the devil, so you have to cut them up, or you're gonna go to jail or something. I don't know what we think. But our parents, they were dealing with the knowledge they had at the time, and they were trying to keep us from making the same mistakes that they made. And all they knew was that, okay, this I was paying on this for a long time. Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of is recurring that I tell a lot of people. I probably should make more videos on it. Please don't close your cards, because
Yes,
that's one of the things. Because of course you're looking at it just like you would look at something else. Okay, my garage is cluttered. I need to get rid of all this stuff.
right.
So if I get rid of it, then I have more space. But it doesn't work like
It
that.
doesn't work like that because they want you to have some type of debt so they can see, are you able to handle this, to give you even
Yeah.
more. But honestly, I would say to my younger self though, to start as soon as possible and to leverage quicker. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean
Right.
by that is, if I had started at 18 and 19 and really understood, because I had a 700 then, but I just thought, oh, that's for when I want to get into a home. That was to get the best rate when I got my vehicle or anything like that. But looking at it as, I could have got into real estate sooner
Mm-hmm.
because I had the funds for it. For those of you that don't know, I could have started a business at that time and built up business credit. And now that debt would have been over there all this time instead of showing up on my personal, like using
Yep.
my personal to get in the doors and using the
Right.
business to really shoot up. So that's honestly, that's what I would have told
Yeah.
my younger self, is start sooner.
And that's another myth. That's another myth that we hear a lot. You don't need personal credit to get business credit. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Unless you want Uline and Granger, okay? And that's all you
Or
get.
unless you partner with somebody who has great credit, there's always that. But then you have to trust somebody, yeah, or they have to trust you enough
Yes.
with your bad credit self to partner with you. But yeah, those are really good things. And apparently, we should have been investing when we were 2 months old, because the houses cost as much as a slice of bread back then. But yeah, that's one of the things that me and my wife went through too. Like we bought houses over the time of us just being married and things. Like if we would have kept those houses and not just selling them. But of course, yeah, like we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right.
House hacked. We made a couple of duplexes out of the houses that we had, because they started off as single family homes, and then we had like mother-in-law suites and we moved people into them. But yeah, investing in that stuff. And then the thing I would tell to my younger self, if you're listening, invest in Apple, Amazon, Tesla, and Google.
Oh yes, definitely. And see, that's the thing too, that where credit allows you to get into that. Because some people, I don't have enough money or the amount of money that they want to
Right.
place into stocks and stuff like that. But with credit, when you turn that credit into cash, because you
Mhm.
can do that. Now you could have used that to place into that stock account. If once you understand how stocks work and how to do options
Yeah.
or dividends or whatever you choose to do in there, and you made money from there, guess what? That's 100% profit
Right.
that you're making from that. Never was your actual money that you had to use. So that was just pure profit. Then you take the money after you'd have made so much and pay that card off. Guess what? You can rinse and recycle, rinse and repeat, whatever you want to
Yep.
say, to get into everything. It's the same thing with like in real estate. Turn that
Yeah.
into cash. Guess what? Use that if you are going to rent it out, do Airbnb,
Mhm.
whatever. You take the profits that you make for that, pay that card off, and then now it's just pure profit. And you never used any of your own money to do all of those things.
And that's one of the things that I'm learning with when I'm going through this real estate investment journey that I'm going through. Like there are countless ways, because then they call it creative financing because of that.
Yes.
Like there are countless ways for you to make money. And when people hear creative finance, they think it's something illegal. But no, creative finance just means we're going to figure out how to get it done in the bounds of the
Without
law,
doing the loan.
without doing that traditional loan. But one of the things that we found out too is like when you get that credit card that you have for your business and you're doing it under real estate, and you can, because when you're in the investment space for real estate, and this is for the people that don't know about the investment space for real estate, when you get into that space, yes, you get the loan, and you can hear people saying like you bought the house cash and stuff like that. But yeah, you get the loan to buy the house cash. And the lender that you get, they also take on the rehab costs for that. So when you're doing fix and flips, so you'll see people doing fix and flips on the shows, but they take on the rehab costs for that. But you have to have the money up front.
Correct.
To give that rehab cost, and then you get reimbursed for that. So if you have credit cards to do that on, you pay the contractor, you get reimbursed for it. You run it up to 10,000 or whatever the limit you have, run it up to 10,000, you pay it off before the 30 days, because you're probably going to do that 3 times within a month to pay off the 10,000. And that card sees that you're being responsible with it because you're not using this for your own personal stuff, and you're going to get the money back.
Right.
So you're using that. You're actually not using your own funds for this now.
So,
you're making money off of it because you're going to sell that house.
Wait, so if you use the right system, then you're going to still get your points or cashback rewards.
And you get higher limits. So all of that stuff. And then an advanced tactic that we're finding out now too. So let's say you Kyra, you have a house or you have a deal that you want to get into, and you're like, okay, I can get the loan on my own, but I don't have the money up front to pay it out and recycle it. If you have credit, I know, LeBaron, I know you have credit, so let's use your credit and we just go 50-50 on this, and then we'll make money on this house, and then maybe I can get my credit cards, or you just, and if you're at that level, it's just because you hadn't applied for them yet, not really because you can't get them, but maybe we can use your credit and I can buy into your deal with my credit now instead of buying into the deal with actual cash money. So we're using my credit to flip it. We're using your credit for lending, and then we make money off of this house together. So that's one of the things we're learning too. And it's like, it's infinite the way you can make money.
Yes, it is. And that's why I said, I feel like credit is your heartbeat, because what you can do once you got that in check, it's really like the sky's the limit.
But where can people find you? What are your socials? What's your handle? And of course, I'm going to put it up here in a text form as well. But if you have a Linktree or whatever to show people.
Yes. So I would say the best way to find me is either going to be on Facebook or IG. All you have to do on IG is credit. That's credit with a K _cleanse with a K. If you're on Facebook, Kredit Kleanse, of course, with the K's. Kredit Kleanse. Okay.
There you go.
And then also my personal page, if you want to know even more about me, then it's Kyra Dodd.
She's Facebook, fun too.
Your girl Kyra on G. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been exhilarating conversation, Kyra. Thank you for accepting the invitation and the nuggets. Thank you for dropping the nuggets for the people. And if you are looking to get cleansed for your credit, Kyra is the one.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's another Credit Chats, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Whoa. Were you about to leave without hitting that like and subscribe button? I mean, you'll be back, right? So why not save yourself the hassle and just do it now? It's like putting your keys by the door, or packing your lunch, or packing 3 days before your flight and not the night of. It just makes life easier. Oh wait, did you just do it? I knew you had it in you. I appreciate that. See you next time. Same place, same channel. And remember, everything you need is inside of you.